Everybody, welcome to the latest review. This one is a little different than most of them because it's not the weekly Jim Crockett Promotions and ECW Hardcore TV, because I decided that, in fact, I will be doing Starrcade 1985, which takes place between the last episode I reviewed and the next episode, which sadly means there will be, maybe not sadly for me, no ECW Hardcore TV this week. But I decided, let's stay in the extreme state of mind, the spirit of ECW, and what could be more extreme than Extreme Rules 2021? Well, one match of Extreme Rules 2021, because I did not watch the entire card. I just watched the main event, which I already regret doing. So, we're gonna first off talk about Starrcade, and then we'll talk about that fucking main event of Extreme Rules. And to answer an earlier question, Starrcade 85 was more extreme than Extreme Rules. Which brings us to Starrcade. It opened up on the disco ball. Tony Schiavone and Bob Caudle are at ringside introducing us to the show. They cut to Johnny Weaver, who's at the Greensboro Coliseum. He is so very excited to be there, as he says with a blank stare in his eyes. They cut back to the arena, and they cut back to Johnny Weaver. This time he says nothing. He just stares awkwardly back and forth at the camera. Mouth open, tongue hanging out, eyes darting back and forth. He has no idea what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. But then we go back to the arena, and the national anthem starts playing. After the national anthem, we go to our opening contest for the vacated Mid-Atlantic title, as Sam Houston takes on Crusher Khrushchev. There's a big pop for Little Sam. The referee's one of the most notable things about this match is he stands out the most. He's wearing an all-yellow attire, bright yellow bell-bottom pants. They should really bring this look back for the ref. The match starts off as Crusher obviously outstrengthening Sam, pushing him down, but Sam with his speed is able to get Crusher out of the ring. Crusher quick to get back in the ring, and Sam starts throwing punches at Crusher, and then stops. They both just stand there, and they go back to a lockup. Crusher is able to take advantage with his highs. He hits a tree slam to poor Sam Houston, but he misses an elbow drop. Sam stands up, and he stands there, and he doesn't take advantage, and Crusher stands up, and Sam's still standing, and they go back to a lockup. Sam was able to take him down with a head scissors and a drop kick and an arm drag. Crusher, using his sides, is able to throw Sam off and then hit a gorilla press. A body slam by Crusher Khrushchev as he goes to the top rope. Sam cuts Crusher off on the top rope with a drop kick. And that was the only reason I was ever going to the top rope. That was the only top rope spot there. Crusher goes outside of the ring, but he brings him back in for many punches. Sam's offense is just full of these punches. Sam Houston's able to hit his bulldog on Crusher Khrushchev, but as he goes for that pin, Crusher has his foot on the rope. Sam, being the idiot, still thinks that he wins, and he jumps up to celebrate. He's jumping up and down, arms in the air, facing away from Crusher. Crusher is quick to get up after this bulldog. He probably could have kicked out even without seeing the ropes. That's how quick he got back up. And as Sam turns around, probably confused why he hasn't heard a bell ring, he eats the sickle. Crusher pins him for the 1-2-3. Crusher Khrushchev is your new Mid-Atlantic champion. The twist, or I guess the catch of this, is Sam also got his foot on the rope, but the ref missed that one, so Sam got screwed after thinking he had won the match. Crusher Khrushchev, your Mid-Atlantic championship. And like most matches that I review, I go through them kind of quickly, just trying to give an overall view. I'm not going to go for these move for move, but this was probably the most boring match, and I wasn't even probably. This was the most boring match on the card, and maybe one or two that was worse than this. Although the consistent just stops of action and lockups was pretty bad. Neither Crusher Khrushchev or Sam Houston are known for their being in-ring greats. I know Crusher Khrushchev was smashed, but he's a far away from being smashed here. He's your new champion. That was probably the worst or most boring match on the card, and not very good. I guess for Starrcade, I'll give him a rating. I don't really do ratings like that. But, I guess it's about like a 1.5. It's one of the most average or below average matches you can find without being horrible. Our next match, when I talked about Starrcade 1985 being more violent, and I mean more violent in Extreme Rules, you have a Mexican death match for Manny Fernandez from Sombrero, as Manny Fernandez takes on Abdullah the Butcher with Paul Jones. Abdullah the Butcher comes to the ring escorted by police. A fan tries to fight him, it looks like, or at least argues him. Abdullah goes up to the fan, and the police get in the way. I wish they wouldn't. I'd have loved to have seen what was happened. Of all the death matches I watched, the one where you gotta climb a pole to win has never been one of them, so this is a first. You've gotta climb the pole to get Manny Fernandez's hat. Vince Russo here booking Starrcade in 1985. Abdullah jumps Mandy right before the bell rings, and he immediately, I think it's a 4 because that's typical Abdullah, but it may have not been. It didn't get a good shot of it. He takes it out of his pants and immediately starts hitting Mandy with it. Mandy's bleeding, not even a minute into this match. When I say bleeding, he's like gushing blood. It's disgusting, and it wouldn't be the last time tonight. He hits Manny with a hammer from the ring bell. Manny tries to fight back after this absolute mugging by Abdullah, and he goes for a monkey flip. And I thought, well, he's going to try a monkey flip Abdullah. Abdullah's so big, he's probably just going to like throw Manny off and fall on him. But no. Manny did it, and Abdullah went over for the monkey flip. Not very high, but still fucking went over, and I was not expecting that, and that was impressive. Manny Fernandez decides it's time for him to go extreme since he had been fucking shanked in the head. He takes his boot off and starts bashing Abdullah in the head with it. Abdullah is now bleeding. Actually, when Abdullah came out, it looked like he already started bleeding. Looked like he got like a bad cut or a rug burn on his forehead, and now it's already even opened up more. He hits Abdullah multiple times in the head with his boot, and Abdullah starts sounding like he's having a seizure, sort of like a certain demon in the main event of another show. He's laying on the floor, fucking spasming out. Manny Fernandez keeps working over Abdullah. Abdullah is able to cut off Manny Fernandez and take advantage again. He beats down Mandy, and he goes ahead for the hat. He has his hands on the hat, but Manny hits Abdullah from behind. And Abdullah takes a pratfall, basically just a fucking back bump, but he looks like King Kong falling off the Empire State Building, how he falls back. And it was actually a pretty funny bump. Paul Jones is now enraged. He's on the apron trying to get in. The referee on the outside is literally holding his one leg in place, stopping him from getting in the ring. But this is a fucking Mexican death match. There have been forks and boots. I don't think a Paul Jones is really going to make that much of a difference. Manny Fernandez takes off his belt and he starts punching Abdullah with it in the face. Abdullah is just bleeding more blood now. The match starting to get disgusting. It's going to get even more gross as the night goes on. Manny Fernandez may have a fucking belt on his hand, but Abdullah the Butcher is fucking Abdullah the Butcher, and he fights back as Manny's punching him with his belted hand. He knocks Manny back down and he goes for an elbow drop, but Manny moves. He goes for a suplex. Now, I doubted his ability to monkey flip Abdullah, which he did, and I was impressed. But I saw him going for a suplex, and I was like, no way. You got your monkey flip. You're not going to fucking suplex Abdullah the Butcher. Well, this was a match that shocked me in a few ways, because much like the monkey flip, Abdullah went up for the suplex. And I was not fucking expecting that. Eyes were getting to go very high up, but he went up for that goddamn suplex. Manny starts to climb, trying to get his hat back, his prestigious hat, and Abdullah ends up cutting him off by taking his fork and hitting him in the fucking balls with his fork. And poor Manny got forked in the balls. I like hats too, but I think if some man takes a fork and stabs me in the nuts, that's when I'm pretty much done with the match. He can win. He can have my fucking hat. But nah, Manny Fernandez is more of a man than I am, because Manny starts to fight back. He hits Abdullah with a flying burrito. Sorry about my voice. It's still recovering from the AEW show on Wednesday. Abdullah is still standing from the flying burrito. So Mandy goes to the middle rope, and it's a clothesline to knock him down. Instead of going to get his hat, because Abdullah is down, he climbs to the top rope and goes for a huge frog splash, but misses. Abdullah the Butcher now continues to work over Mandy Fernandez. He's got him in the corner, but he takes the post. He runs, tries to do a shoulder tackle. Manny moves. Manny climbs up and takes his hat. The crowd pops for this. Manny got his hat back. They saw two men pretty much stab each other, and Paul Jones is pissed. That was a fun match. It was fucking brutal, the amount of blood and stabbing there was. I was impressed with the bumps that Abdullah took. The pratfall was funny, and the suplex and monkey flip was just impressive. Overall, I enjoyed the match a hell of a lot. I have been saying Mandy Fernandez, I've been really impressed with him since I started watching this, and Abdullah the Butcher, I've always liked Abdullah. This was a really good match. Maybe not really good, but it was just a really fun match. It's probably a better way of putting it. If you don't like blood, you probably shouldn't watch it. If you don't like watching a man get hit in the balls with a fork, you shouldn't watch it. But if you like Eyes of Dolls, give it a watch. It's a lot more enjoyable than the opener, and a lot more extreme than Roman and Finn. We now go back to Greensboro Coliseum with Johnny Weaver and new Mid-Atlantic champion Crusher Khrushchev. He said in his very Russian accent, just about as Russian as I sound, he's the happiest man in the world. Ivan and Nikita made him who he is today. He said he will show the Americans that Russians are superior, and the American fans will have no choice but to say that the Russians are superior. He said Nikita and Ivan will put rock and roll out of commission tonight in a steel cage. Said Sam's a great athlete, debatable, but Crusher is a champ. He's bigger, he's better, and he's stronger. And just the way that I said stronger had more emotion than Crusher did his entire promo. He had a very bland match, and he had a very bland promo, so probably why his ceiling was the Mid-Atlantic title, some regional title, not even like one of the main WCW titles. Crusher wasn't that exciting. Hasn't been that exciting since I started watching. Which brings us to our next match. Again, more extreme than Extreme Rules, because we got two gimmick matches in a row. A bull rope match is Ron Bass takes on Black Bar with JJ Dillon. Jesus Christ, these names are fucking me up. Ron Bass immediately hits Black Bart with a cowbell 5 times. Now Bart is bleeding on the already bleeding ring. Ron Bass continues to beat his ass early on. He chokes Bart, continues to punch Bart with a rope wrapped around his fist. Ron Bass is beating Black Bart's ass with this bell and rope for about the opening few minutes. Bart, like the heroic babyface that he's seeming, even though he's a heel, he's just getting his ass whooped, starts to fight back with bell shots. Now Ron is bleeding. This is 4 straight people bleeding in the past 2 matches. Bart cuts Ron with the cowbell, takes the sharp part of the bell and just scrapes it across his forehead. Both men end up trading punches. Both men are now just gushing blood, probably bleeding more than Abdullah and Manny. It's getting fucking disgusting, but fun. There's a bell shot to the gut and head of Black Bart. Black Bart sells this by throwing wild punches in the air before falling down. Ron Bass uses the rope to do rope burns, basically, to Black Bart's open wound, and ow, that sounds painful. Bart falls over the top. Bass comes off the apron with a bell shot. Bart's face at this point of the match is 100% red. You can't see the white in his face anymore. That's just how fucking covered in blood he is. They keep fighting for a while, and they do a shoulder tackle for a double down. Black Bart's up first, but he misses a bell shot. Ron Bass trips Bart with the rope and a bell shot for 2. Ron Bass goes to the top rope and hits a bell shot to win. This was, again, a fun gimmick match. It wasn't, I was going to say it wasn't the best wrestling match, but it was a good fight. Like I said in the weeks leading up to this, every Ron Bass match got me less excited than his promos did for the match, but I enjoyed this match because it was fucking brutal. Kind of a theme of the gimmick matches tonight. They may not be the best in, ring talent, or at least not the best in ring excitement, but they're fucking brutal. And this was another example of this. These men, I went through the spots kind of quickly, but these men fucking beat the shit out of each other, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to watch. More than any fun you'll have watching Extreme Rules 2021. But because of his win, Ron Bass did get a 5-minute bull rope match with J.J. Dillon. J.J. Dillon jumps Ron at the beginning and hits Ron with a bell for 2. J.J. used the ropes to choke Ron. Ron gets up. J.J. tries to run, and Ron pulls him back and hits J.J. with the bell. J.J.'s bleeding. Ron Bass has a spot where he wraps the bell around, the rope around the back of J.J.'s neck. and holds it together like in the front of JJ's neck. I sort of did a motion like any of you could see this, which you can't, but you could imagine. And he's just holding JJ up as he punches him in the face. I think he did that spot the black bar too, but I wrote it down for JJ because it was funnier him doing it to JJ. Somehow the referee get knocked down. I didn't even really see how. I was watching this with a few people, so I didn't feel like rewinding it. But the ref got knocked down. Black Bart gets in and hits a pile driver to Ron Bass, and he puts JJ on top of Ron Bass to win. The ref rolls over and counts re. JJ won, as I just said. A screw finish for poor Ron Bass, who got a big win over Black Bart on Starrcade, but then lost to the manager. It was not a exciting or good match. I mean, it was fun when JJ was getting his ass beat by Ron Bass. Whenever JJ was on offense, it wasn't the most exciting, but it got the job done. The heel manager got the fluke win over the wrestler due to his guy, and he's probably going to brag about it like he beat Ron Bass's ass. So it accomplished what it needed to do. Again, a fun segment and a fun match. It wasn't really fun, though, as much as it's going to pay me to say it for one of these guys. Superstar Billy Graham. Oh, sorry, Buster. Superstar Billy Graham versus Barbarian with Paul Jones. And yes, I am here as Buster. I'm babysitting my sister's dog. How you doing, Buster? Of course, it starts off with the arm wrestling contest for $10,000. The ring announcer announces Superstar Billy Graham, and then I guess he was expecting Barbarian to have more than one name. I mean, Superstar Billy Graham has three, so he goes Barbarian. 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 Billy, before the arm wrestling contest, using some trash talk, saying he's going to break Barbarian's other arm. Paul Jones goes around to check the table, make sure there's no fucking funny business by Superstar. Barbarian puts both arms up. He's not familiar with arm wrestling, said the announcers, which I guess I tried to use both arms. I mean, one of them's broken. What the fuck he's really going to do with that? Paul, during the arm wrestling contest, they start arm wrestling, and they're about even right now. Barbarian is having a little more pushing. He is closer to beating Billy than Billy is him. And Paul Jones is standing behind Barbarian with a hand on his shoulder. Looks like he's trying to add a little leverage to Barbarian. Billy Graham is about to lose, but he fights back. And he fights back. Both men are out of the chairs. Now they're both kneeling. The crowd's fucking losing it for this arm wrestling competition. Billy Graham ends up winning, but right as he wins, Paul Jones hits him with a cane. Barbarian hits him with his cast. And now Billy's bleeding. That's 5 men bleeding. I think JJ was bleeding. Yeah, JJ. That's actually 6 men bleeding. 1, 2, 3. In the past 3 matches. Ron Bass was in 2 of the 3 matches, so I guess I'll count him at 6.5. In the past 3 matches, we've got blood now. 6 people. Barbarian bites Billy's forehead, so he has blood all over his mouth. Ew. There's a Safat kick by the Barbarian. He's working over Billy as Billy starts throwing punches, starting to fight back. Barbarian does that throat chop, and he goes to the top rope, but he misses a headbutt. Billy with a bear hug and now fighting back, but Paul runs in and hits Billy with a cane for disqualification. I said Sam and Crusher was the worst match. And I said they were boring. This was actually probably the worst match, as much as it pains me to say, because I know Billy Graham's a legend, but it pains me to say about Barbarian, because I really enjoy Barbarian in these old squash matches that he's had. But Billy Graham at this stage in his career is probably not the most, versatile opponent to have, and Barbarian probably was the most versatile wrestler, so it just wasn't a good match. And they did a DQ finish on Starrcade. But after the match, Billy grabs a cane and he hits Paul Jones in the chest. I thought it was a chest, but in the replay, it actually looks like he hit him in the throat. Barbarian jumps Billy Graham and throws him outside of the ring and throws him into the ring post. Billy sells this by falling over the barricade. Barbarian follows him and hits Billy with a chair. The referee hugs Billy Graham and gets between him and Barbarian. Right as Barbarian's done beating his ass, Billy Graham just sort of stands up, like he's still selling, but not really, and he raises his hands and he just walks away. Billy left celebrating after that beating from the Barbarian. Now, probably the worst match on Starrcade, and that included a 5-minute J.J. Dillon match. But and this wasn't much longer, or may have even been 5 minutes. But just how limited Billy Graham was, and how he didn't sell the beating after it. He just sort of walked away. Wasn't a real big fan of that. The loudest the crowd got was for the fucking arm wrestling. So this is something that you can skip on Starrcade 1985. You know what? I think I'll do that. Instead of star ratings, I'll tell you what you can skip and what you should watch. You can skip Billy Graham and Barbarian. You can skip Sam Houston and Crusher Khrushchev. You should watch Ron Bass and Black Bart. You should watch Manny Fernandez and Abdullah the Butcher. And I guess you could watch. Yeah, just watch JJ and Ron Bass just to see JJ get punched. For the national title, champion Terry Taylor takes on challenger Buddy Landel with J.J. Dillon. Buddy came out in his rip-off Ric Flair robe. J.J. is not out there yet selling his bull rope match. They go for the lockup, but Buddy does the Flair fake out and hair fix. They lock up, and Buddy pushes Terry to the ropes, and he does that thing where, like, you break the lockup, and he slaps the guy in the chest. Well, he slaps Terry in the chest, and Terry slaps Buddy in the face, knocking him down. Buddy does that Flair sell. You know, Buddy's just trying to beat up Ric Flair. Buddy tries 2 punches. Terry blocks both of them and punches Buddy down. Now, that was a cool spot, because he tried with a right punch. Terry blocked it, then with the left, Terry blocked it, and Terry punched him and knocked him down. They go into some chain wrestling. And Terry's in the corner. He hits a boot. And Buddy takes a Flair bump, of course. Terry with a back body drop and a knee drop. He keeps working over Buddy Landel, but Buddy's able to take over. Was a big punch to Terry Taylor. Just sort of like just threw a forearm to the face to knock Terry down. This is what brings JJ to ringside. Terry's able to fight back with a nice backbreaker and leg drop. Terry Taylor, obviously a very good wrestler, just not a very charismatic guy. He's beating up Buddy Landel, but Buddy Landel with a nice, snug-looking clothesline, knocking Terry's ass off. Or his dick stiff. His dick stiff and his ass off. Where did I leave off? Because now I'm talking about Terry Taylor's dick and ass. Buddy Landel gets him into a camel clutch, but Terry Taylor's able to fight out of it by bumping Buddy off into a turnbuckle. Like, you know that spot, like, when you're wrestling your friends and they're on your back and you just sort of throw them off by just, like, lunging your back forward. That's how Terry Taylor got out of the camel clutch. Terry slams Buddy into the turnbuckle post. Buddy tries to fight back by pushing Terry, and he pushes him into the referee. The ref back up, but Buddy pushes Terry into the referee again. The poor ref, man. He knows so that first ref bump, but now he's down again. JJ got onto the apron with a boot. Terry reverses the Irish whip, so Buddy goes into JJ Dillon, knocking JJ off the apron. Poor JJ, not having a very good night. Terry Taylor puts Buddy on top, going for what, as he called a few weeks ago, the super suplex. But as he goes down for the suplex, J.J. Dillon trips Terry Taylor's feet, so Buddy Landel falls on him. He falls on top of Terry and covers him for the win. Your new national champion, Buddy Landel, was J.J. Dillon. It was probably the best wrestling match of the night so far. Not the most exciting match because, you know, you had a fucking death match and bull rope match. But in terms of actual wrestling, this was the best match of the night. These are 2 good wrestlers. One of them who has to do a Ric Flair ripoff gimmick, and the other one who has no charisma and eventually become a rooster. But here tonight, so far, they've had the best actual wrestling match of the night. I guess you could watch this. It's not a thing that you should, like, mandatory watch. Like I said, it's a good match, but there'll be better ones on the card later tonight. The next match sees the national tag team titles as the Andersons, Ole and Arn, defending against Billy Jack Hayes and Wahoo McDaniel. I was confused as first the Andersons came out with their titles, but then Billy and Wahoo also came out with titles. Apparently they're the U.S. Tag Team Champions. Arn and Billy start off. Billy pushes off Arn and does a chest wiggle that Chris Masters does that Khali found strangely mesmerizing. Arn does a leapfrog and a little snap. He does a leapfrog, and when he lands, he does a little snap his fingers and point to the crowd. But he turns around and he took a gorilla press for it. Arn Anderson's like the smallest I've ever seen him here. Like, he's pretty skinny. Oli tries to get involved, but Billy outstrikes him. Wahoo chops Oli in the chest. Arn tags himself in, but Wahoo is a loud-ass chop to Arn Anderson. Pretty much chops are the only thing that Wahoo will be doing here tonight. Wahoo is just chopping away on Arn Anderson, but eventually Arn's able to fight back in. And he tags in Oli, and now they're working over Wahoo's arm, which, I mean, you gotta do, because if you take out his arm, he can't fucking chop you. But as I say that, Oli's working Wahoo's arm, and Wahoo chops the fucking shit out of him. Arn tags himself in, and he goes immediately to working Wahoo's arm and stomping away on it, dropping knees on it. Oli and Arn keep double-teaming Wahoo. Billy comes in to even the odds, but the ref throws him out, so the Andersons keep on double-teaming Wahoo behind the ref's back as he's dealing with Billy. Arn has Wahoo in the arm ringer, the Arn ringer. Arn's got a fucking Glock, by the way. I'm so glad I was there live for that line. But Arn's got him in the arm ringer, and Wahoo just chops the fuck out of Arn again. Sweat goes flying. Oli gets tagged in as Arn trips Wahoo as he tries to make his way to Billy. Oli continues to fight and beat up Wahoo, but Wahoo... I know this is going to shock you at this point in the match. Wahoo fights back with a chop. And he's finally able to get the hot tag. Billy comes in and starts punching the Andersons, beating their ass. He does a noggin knocker to them. Oli grabs Billy so Arn can take over, but Billy immediately tags Wahoo back in. Oli tripped Wahoo from outside. But that didn't stop Wahoo for long as he's chopping Arn Anderson in Anderson's corner for some reason. Not very well wearing this from Mr. Wahoo. Oli now on the outside reaches in between Arn's legs and trips Wahoo. Arn falls on top of him to pin him. Oli holds Wahoo's legs, and the Andersons retain the tag team titles, the national tag team title. In all honesty, I don't want to say this because I found this match for what I was hoping it to be probably the most, I don't want to say disappointing, but probably disappointing match of the night just because I know how great Arn can be. And I've had fun watching Oli in the past. But Billy Jack Haynes is kind of limited in the ring, and Wahoo McDaniel, all he did was throw punches. Now, when I said I was disappointed, the highlights of the match were the fucking Andersons. I mean, just working over the arm, their quick tag moves, the finish. But overall, for Starrcade, for the biggest event of the year, for the Andersons, I was hoping for something a little more than it was. But it was still a fine match to watch. It's nothing great. Wahoo is very limited. I said Jesse Ventura was very limited, but he looks like that. He has a Kenny Omega moveset compared to Wahoo here tonight. Billy didn't do much, despite the fact that he probably could do more than Wahoo. But the fucking Wahoo chops were fun to watch. Like him just chopping the shit out of the Andersons. He may not be able to do a lot, but what he can do, he fucking does it hard. So yeah, watch this match, I guess. Like, Arn's always fun to watch, and Wahoo chopping people is fun to watch. So Anderson's still your tag champs, and it was then kind of disappointing, but nothing too bad match. Johnny Weaver sends us to a 15-minute intermission. Sadly, that was cut off the network. We're back now with Weaver and Buddy Landell and JJ Dillon. JJ said it's the greatest night of his 15-year career. Starrcade 85 will be what the fuck did I write? Will be the best in the year. He said he took a beating. He gave Ron the beating of his life, and he is the uncrowned champion of the bull rope match. He said Buddy is a championship material. He will be champion for a long time. This is the last step to the world title, And Buddy is still stepping because he never got that world title. Buddy said he modeled his life after the Horsemen, after the Andersons, Tully, and Flair. And he's a new champion. And he said, in the famous words of Ric Flair, I said it. I guess that's a famous Ric Flair catchphrase that everybody knows. Nothing promo from Buddy, except he basically admits that he ripped off the Horsemen and mainly Ric Flair. Fun promo from J.J. Dillon. Like I said, he used his heel manager bullshit to act like he gave Ron the beating of his life. And now, because Black Bart helped him, which he didn't bring up in the promo, of course, he's the uncrowned champion of the Bull Rope match. Great heel manager bullshit. Fun promo from J.J. Dillon. Good performance from him tonight between the match and the promo. But we go now to probably the most famous match of Starrcade 85. Yes, it includes Dusty and Flair. It's one of the most famous matches that I've known about since I've started watching wrestling, but never actually watched till this review. For the United States title, Tully Blanchard with Baby Doll takes on Magnum TA in a steel cage I Quit match. Tully gets the biggest entrance of the show so far because he is a champion. Magnum's already in the ring, doesn't even get an entrance. They're trading shots early on, just like going back and forth punching. Magnum wins, punching Tully back. They just keep trading punches. He just keeps fighting. Tully is eventually able to take over after getting his ass beaten and his punch off. He sends Magnum into the cage. Magnum drops Tully face first into the ropes after he's able to fight back. Magnum's beating Tully's ass for a little bit now, but Tully not for very long. Tully's able to take over and send Magnum back into the cage. He grabbed Magnum's gear and throws him into the cage one more time. The referee picks the mic up and blows into it. Like, this is a mic that has like a cable connected to the outside that they bring inside to hear the guy say, I quit. So there's a chance that they could, trip over the cable. But the referee just decides to go into the microphone during the middle of the match. Tully... Oh, I already said that part. Tully's now beating Magnum's ass. I'm going to go through these spots pretty quickly, but I'll talk about the match in full a little after. Magnum's able to fight back, and for the first time, he's able to throw Tully into the cage. Both men are bleeding, joining the illustrious Starrcade 85 blood pact that has apparently happened on this show. Gushing blood. Magnum asks if Tully wants to quit. Tully said no and headbutts him in the gut. Tully hits Magnum with the mic after he refuses to quit. Tully is beating Magnum's ass now, but he goes for a cover, and then he sort of realizes that's in an I Quit match, so he stops going for a cover. He slams Magnum back into the cage one more time. He's beating Magnum's ass for a little bit now. Magnum's able to fight back with punches. Tully's left arm is covered in blood from Magnum. Magnum now hits Tully with the microphone. He asks Tully if he wants to quit, and Tully very dramatically says no, screams it into the microphone as loud as he can. Magnum TA now on the offense, beating up Tully for a bit before Tully's able to take advantage with an eye rake. Not for very long though. Magnum quickly able to take back over and hit some mounted punches. Again, this is like back and forth stuff. Like, no one's on the advantage for very long in this match as Tully's able to hit a big atomic drop, a huge one. And then he hits Magnum with the mic and does some more. And he hits Magnum with the mic a few times and does some elbow drops to poor Magnum. Tully, for some reason, throws a referee down. Somebody throws Tully a wooden chair. He breaks it and grabs a stake. The referee gets back up. I guess Tully thought that the referee should stay down because he runs over and kicks the referee. He goes to impale Magnum with the stick. Magnum fights back and grabs the piece of the chair, and he stabs Tully in the face, in the forehead, with the wooden stake that Tully breaks off. Tully quickly quits at this point, and Magnum the TA is your new United States champion. This was an awesome match. I went through the spots kind of quickly, as I will do, because I'm not going to want to be here for hours just talking about every spot of the match, but this was a fun-ass match. It was probably the best combination of brutal and actually good wrestling on this card. These men beat the hell out of each other. I love totally just kicking and beating up the referee for no reason. The fucking wooden stake finish was fucking disgusting, but awesome. They're two very good wrestlers. And this is a legendary match that people have always talked about. I've never seen until now, and it did live up to the hype. Magnum TA is your United States champion. I also feel like it didn't overstay its welcome. It wasn't an overly long match. But I think that helps to it. I feel like if they had to drag it out, it probably would have been a little more limited. But this is a very fun match to watch. You can make the argument this is the best match on the card. It's definitely worth watching. Magnum versus Tully. I quit Steel Cage. So I guess go out of your way to watch it. Starrcade 85. Speaking of gimmick matches that you should go out of your way to watch, but for completely different reasons, the Atlanta Street Fight as a Midnight Express with Jim Cornette take on Jimmy Valiant and Miss Atlanta Lively with Big Mama. Miss Atlanta Lively, very clearly a man. I don't think she was always a man, but for the street fight, it was clearly a man. Before the Midnight Express come out, you hear Cornette go, "It's the hour of midnight," about to fall on Starrcade. The Midnight Express come out in suits, like the old suits that you would see like a guy play a piano in for a street fight. Vintage. What the fuck did I wear there? Say there. Jimmy Valiant wearing a red shirt, purple sparkle cap. So he's dressed just as fancy for the street fight. The Midnight Express try to jump him, but Atlanta Lively sprays him with baby powder like the entire fucking bottle. She just keeps going. Ginny fights Dennis to the outside and hits him with a chair. Atlanta Lively and Bobby are in the ring right now. Dennis is quickly bleeding, my bad. Jimmy hits Eden with a chair. He throws him onto the concrete floor. He goes back in the ring and hits Dennis with a chair and throws him into Eden. I'm just going to go through the spots quickly because this match I love, but it's hard to follow. Dennis throws baby powder at Jimmy and Bobby hits him with brass knuckles. Dennis hits Jimmy with a big boot, and Dennis punts Atlanta Lively. Jimmy is able to make the save. Cornette hits Atlanta Lively with a tennis racket, and the Midnight double team Atlanta. Jimmy Valiant's on the outside. He can't get back in. They keep stopping him. There's a double clothesline to Jimmy as he comes off. Eden comes off the top, and Atlanta Lively caught him with a punch. Mid-jump to win. Atlanta Lively and Jimmy Valiant did win. I did a horrible job of explaining this match because this match has to be seen to believe. It is bad. Maybe? I don't know. It's not. I don't think it's good. It's the Midnight Express beating up a man dressed as Miss Atlanta Lively for a good amount of time, and Jimmy Valiant fights back and is himself. There's no way of describing this match without seeing it. This is a match you gotta see to believe. Jimmy Valiant's fucking insane as always. There was brass knuckle shots. There was a baby powder spot. There was chair shots. Bobby Eden does his top rope leg drop. After the match, they rip off Jim Cornette's clothes to his underwear. The Midnight Express pull him out. The street people win, says the announcers. And my last note is a fun mess, because that's what this match was. It was a fun mess. I wish I did a better job of explaining it and the fucking insanity, but I do think this is a match I like. Even if I explained it spot by spot, you have to watch it to really understand what the fuck is going on. So I would go out my way to watch this match. This match was fucking weird and in a good way. Johnny Weaver is back with a very bloody Magnum TA. He said the I Quit match isn't wrestling, it's a fight. He said the USA title is the most prestigious next to the world title. He said he's a fighting champion. He called out a few guys like Nikita and Arn. Said the U.S. title Magnum TA will be together for a long time. A fine promo by Magnum. Yeah. After a great match, a fine promo. Good night for Mr. Magnum. We now go to our World Tag Team title match. As a Rock and Roll Express with Don Kernodle challenged Nikita Koloff and Ivan. Nikita Koloff and Ivan Koloff for the tag titles with Crusher Khrushchev. The Russians come out in a red smoke into the USSR national anthem. Rock and Roll come out in a blue lighting. And a combined wrestling weight, said the ring announcer, is making me wondering if they have a different non-wrestling weight. This is one of the cage tag matches where you have to tag in and out during the match, not both men in the ring at the same time. Nikita outstrengths, pushing Morton. Morton uses speeds to avoid a few moves and he hits a dropkick, but Nikita doesn't go down. Eventually, Ricky is able to get tagged in and he blocks getting thrown into the cage with his foot and he hits a crossbody for a 2. Robert gets back in and he hits a dropkick and a knee drop and he tags right back out after Ricky Morton just spent minutes in that match. Robert gets in and feel like doing shit right there. Ivan Koloff's now in and he's the first to go into the cage. Robert throws him into it twice. Now Ivan's bleeding on the blood pack to this Starrcade 1985. The mat is stained with blood from like every previous match. Nikita catches Robert in a bear hug and just falls backwards and drops Robert face first into the cage. The Russians are double teaming Robert. They're just whooping his ass for a good amount of time. The ref's distracted as Ricky's getting on the apron. The ref gets distracted by Ricky trying to make the save for Robert, so the Russians just keep double teaming him. Robert's now bleeding on this blood pack known as Starrcade 98. Nikita bites Robert's open wound, gross, like the last time. Again, they just keep double teaming poor Gibson because Ricky Morton let himself get to the ref distracted so the Russians can do another double team move to poor Robert Gibson. They just keep beating over Robert. They are beating Robert for most of this fucking match. It's just heat on Robert. Robert Gibson is getting his ass beat. There was a few quick tags early in the match, but not anymore. Robert says he gets like a few hope spots in, like a punch or two, maybe a kick or two, and then the Russians just immediately cut him back off again. And Jesus fucking Christ, Ricky distracts the referee again, so Nikita can illegally bite Robert Gibson. The women are now squealing for Robert as he tries to fight back, but he keeps getting double teamed by the Russians. He keeps getting cut off. Robert is able to hit one punch to Ivan, and the crowd loses it. They go insane, hoping he can make it to Ricky Morton, but once again, he is cut off. Mother fucking Ricky fucking Morton, this alleged tag team legend, letting himself distract the referee again for like the 4th or 5th time so Nikita can choke Robert Gibson. This alleged legend of tag team wrestling is fucking over his own tag team partner like 5 times this match. Another spot that's happened maybe a little too much on this show is the referee is down after a dropkick from Robert Gibson knocked Ivan into the referee. Nikita ends up hitting the Russian sickle on both members of the Rock and Roll. He puts Ivan on top, but the referee is down. The Russians have a visual pin on Robert. Robert Gibson, the poor man getting his fucking ass beat by the Russians, having his own partner work against him by continuously distracting the referee, is finally able to make a tag in right as Ivan Koloff hits him with an Irish whip. Ivan, without knowing that Ricky tagged himself in, hits a back body drop onto Robert, but right as he gets Robert up, Ricky Morton pushes Ivan into the ropes. Like, Ricky ducks under Robert. That's how quick it is, because Robert's right above him, flipping over in midair. He pushes Ivan into the ropes, rolls him up, and gets the pin and an unexpected win. And the Rock and Roll Express Our new tag team champions. Sorry, it's late at night and I'm tired, spending all day studying. That was a fucking awesome finish. I wasn't expecting that quickly because this match was literally just the Russians beating up Robert Gibson for the entire time. I was expecting Ricky Morton's hot tag to go really fucking hard, but I mean, I wasn't disappointed because that was a really fucking cool finish. He rolled up Ivan, literally having to duck under Ricky, and the fucking timing of that was great. Rock and Roll Express are your new tag team champions, but they don't get the challenge. You can see, they don't get to celebrate. You can see little kids running to the front of the stands, but only if they knew what was about to happen, because the Russians throw Ricky Morton over the top of the cage. You're asking how that happened. I don't really know. Ricky was just climbing the cage for some reason, and Crusher followed him and pushed him over the top to the outside. They bring a chain into the ring. Crusher did, a Russian chain, and they clothesline Robert with the chain. Crusher picks up Gibson and it's a belly-to-back suplex as Nikita and Ivan come off the top rope with a double clothesline. Ivan whips Gibson with the chain. Don Cornota was knocked down. I don't know how, but they cut to him and he's just laying out on the ground. Finally, some faces run out and clear the ring. The Russians leave after laying out the Rock and Roll Express. They fight the faces for a little bit, but eventually just decide to leave. That was a good tag team match. I like the story of it I like the story of it in hindsight more than I liked it watching it, because I was expecting more, and I was getting annoyed with Ricky Morton just continuously getting distracted, but that played into the finish and how quick the finish was. So this is one of the matches that was good while it was happening, but I actually liked it more after I saw the finish and knew what they were going for. Overall, a fun match that you should watch. It's Robert Gibson getting his ass beat for about 10 minutes and a really cool fucking finish. Your new tag team champions, the Rock and Roll Express, even after winning, got their fucking ass beat by the Russians. So, yeah, fun match. I would watch it, I guess. It's not a must-watch, but it's fun. The finish is probably a must-watch if you can watch it, just to see how well that timing went. New tag team champions, the Rock and Roll Express, will only leave us with our main event left for the World Heavyweight Championship. Champion Ric Flair defends against challenger Dusty Rhodes. They both get entrances and they come to the ring. The match starts off and Dusty struts and wiggles his fat booty. They lock up, go to the corner and start trading shots. Dusty does his Dusty punches to knock Ric Flair down. Flair leaves the ring and goes over the barricade to regroup. Flair gets back on the apron and Dusty elbows Flair. Flair leaves again. Dusty out-wrestles Rick when he gets back on. Rick gets out of a hammerlock with a punch. Fuck, I just lost my place in. Sorry about that. So Dusty hits an elbow. Ric Flair leaves the ring again. Ric Flair eventually gets back in the ring and they start to wrestle, and Dusty out-wrestles Rick early on. Ric Flair gets in a hammerlock and he's able to get out of it when he punches Dusty's injured leg. Dusty goes down, quickly selling his leg. Ric Flair kicks Dusty's injured leg and he falls out of the ring and rolls over he rolls out of the ring and goes over the barricade. Now it's time for him to regroup now that his fucking injured leg has been hit. Flair tries to cut off Dusty as he gets back on the apron, but Dusty ends up hitting him with an elbow to the back of the neck. And while Flair's throat is on the top rope, Dusty stomps Ric Flair's leg and puts him in a leg lock. Now he's trying to work over Ric Flair's leg. Flair is able to cut off Dusty and tries to go to suplex Dusty, but he can't lift him with his injured leg. So Dusty suplexes Flair because, Dusty's injured leg. Flair's still smaller than Dusty. And he puts Rick into a submission hold. Dusty's now working over Ric Flair for a bit. Ric Flair's able to take over with a sleeper, but Dusty's quickly to fight out of it by sending Ric Flair into the turnbuckle. And then he grabs Ric Flair's injured leg on the outside and slams it into the ring post multiple times. Now both Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes are working this match with an injured leg. Dusty gets in the ring, but he misses an elbow. But Ric Flair, being Ric Flair, has to go to the top rope, so Dusty Rhodes cuts him off and throws him off. Dusty tries for a figure four, but Ric Flair kicks him off. As Dusty falls, he holds his injured ankle, so now Dusty's even more injured than he was before going into this match. Ric Flair now tries to take advantage, working over Dusty, beating his ass, and now it's his turn to try to go for the figure four. He goes for it twice, but Dusty pushes him off twice, so Flair just stomps on the ankle. Flair's beating Dusty, rolls his ass now, both men selling their leg as Flair takes the buckle over an outside spot. Dusty follows him and slams Ric Flair into the ring post and barricade. He's beating Ric Flair's ass now, throws him back inside the ring, and he hits an ugly crossbody for a 2 count. The ref was selling an accidental slap by Ric Flair. Ric Flair was bleeding. And now at this point, because Ric Flair can't be outdone bleeding. And that accidental slap, I wasn't even sure how it happened. I think he accidentally backhanded the referee. And then Dusty hit the crossbody, but the referee was still selling the accidental slap. It looked weird, but it got its job done. Dusty's now still taking over. He hits mounted punches onto Flair. Flair does a Flair flop. Some fucking fan won't stop wooing every time Dusty hits Rick. Dusty misses a kick, and he kicks the rope with his injured leg and falls over. Ric Flair starts working over Dusty's leg, including his knee drop to the ankle. Now, my question is, he kicked the rope, but he was still kicking with his injured leg. So even if he kicked Flair, he would have hurt Flair, but he also would have fucking hurt himself, right? So I don't know what fucking Dusty's plan was there. Ric Flair is able to get the figure four on. After a minute, Dusty turns it over, and Ric Flair gets some ropes after a little bit of fighting. Dusty Rhodes starts dustying up. He's no-selling punches and chops. He has somewhat of a clothesline for 2. Ric Flair does a big man kick out, throwing Dusty onto the referee, which was kind of funny. Dusty gets up and throws Flair backwards by the hair into the referee, knocking him onto the floor. The referee's now down out again. Dusty has Rick in the figure four, but the ref is down. Arn Anderson runs in and hits Dusty, but Dusty hits him with his boot, and Arn Anderson is knocked out and falls out of the ring. Ole Anderson comes in and hits Dusty from behind. Ric Flair goes to pick for the pin. Another ref runs in, and it's only a 2 count. Ric Flair goes to pick up Dusty, but Dusty hits him with a small package, and Dusty Rhodes with the small package wins. He is your new World Heavyweight Champion. Manny Fernandez, Billy Graham, Pez Whatley, and others come out to celebrate. Billy Jack doing 2-2. Arn is freaking out on the inside. Poor Pez Whatley. He was trying to hoist Dusty up with everybody else, and he was huffing and puffing harder than one of Dusty's big legs. So yeah, Dusty Rhodes is your new World Champion. I liked the story of the match of both men having a leg injury, and it was a really good match. The ending kind of surprised me, but overall it was a good match. It was a good main event to Starrcade. I'm interested to see how long Dusty's title reign lasts, because I know Ric Flair gets the title back kind of soon. So I'm interested to see what they do with Dusty. If he just immediately drops it back to Flair, if he has maybe 1 or 2 defenses against somebody else before feuding with Flair over the title again. The story was good. The action was good. Dusty Rhodes, your new world champion, then the show. The faces celebrated at the end. So overall, it was a good main event. Backstage, Tony Schiavone's with Dusty Rhodes and the faces. They popped champagne on the Dusty. Dusty said this was for the blue-collar workers who came from the bottom, and he's not a world champion. He said nobody can beat the people. Nobody can beat the American dream. Dusty and the faces leave as Tony and Bob talk about the show video package of highlights to end this show. Overall, my final thoughts on the show was that it was a very fun show, a fucking brutal show too. All of the matches that had to delivered. Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and Tully and Magnum obviously being the best matches on the card. The rest of them were really fun to watch, with the exception of Billy and Barbarian and Sam and Crusher. But this was definitely a show worth watching. It was a good show. I wasn't bored during any of it. And overall, a really fun show. I'm glad I watched it. You know what I'm not glad I watched? I decided, hey, let's do something extreme. You know what's on tonight? Extreme Rules. You know what's the main event? Roman and Finn. How could that be bad? I asked myself. Well, let's find out. This was the only match I watched from Extreme Rules. This has been the first WWE match I've watched since SummerSlam, probably. Maybe I've watched like one or two matches. I think I mainly just watched clips on YouTube the next day. Will this get me back into watching WWE? We'll just have to wait till the finish to find out now, won't we? Extreme Rules 2021 Universal title Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman versus Finn Balor in Extreme Rules match, the only gimmick match on the Extreme Rules card. Starrcade outdid them by a fucking country mile. Some poor fan is at their 200th show. Feel bad for that guy. The Demon removes his kilt, says Pat McAfee. They trade forearms. The Demon hit. Demon shit. Oh yeah, they trade forearms, and the Demon does some demon shit like hamstring kicks and fingers up Roman's nose. Roman goes outside and gets a kendo stick, but Finn Balor on the other side of the ring has multiple kendo sticks all tied together. And he beats Roman with his mega super kendo stick. The crowd doesn't seem very into this match unless weapons are pulled out. And I'll get more on that in a bit when I go over my full feelings of this match after the quick summary of it. They are hyped for a table, though. A huge pop, the biggest pop of the entire match. But Roman clothesline to Finn. Roman puts it back under the ring and says, no tables. The crowd boos. They chant for tables, and Roman gets a chair because he's awesome like that. Roman beats Finn with a chair, and he keeps beating Finn with a chair, and he's beating Finn with a chair. Eventually, Finn sweeps his leg, and he hits his little foot stomp to Roman, who's still holding the chair. Roman sells his gut. Finn gets the table eventually after beating up Roman for a bit, but Roman hits a drive-by, knocking Finn's face into the ring post. That was a pretty cool spot. I think Roman sent Finn over the top. Maybe Finn went over there on his own, over like the top of the barricade. Paul Heyman gives Roman Reigns a mask, and Roman Reigns goes into the crowd to beat Finn Balor's ass, which, awesome. Because fuck those fans. Why would Roman want to breathe the same air they did? It was funny because he looked down on them, but he also has his legit, real-life issues and past problems with COVID. So it was a good little touch. He throws Finn onto the kickoff desk. Finn's able to fight back, and he hits a crossbody off the kickoff desk through a table right next to them. A little table set up next to the kickoff table, I guess to hold their food. They keep fighting back now to ringside. Finn's starting to win, but Roman hits a Uranagi to Finn through the table. The same table he didn't want to use. The same table the crowd wanted Finn to use so bad Roman puts Finn through it. This is awesome, shouts the fan. Lies, say I, because they've been sitting on their hands this entire match. This match, I'll get to that in a second. Roman's now beating Finn's ass. Finn's able to fight back with a Pele kick, but Roman hits a Superman punch for a 2 count. Roman goes for the spear, but Finn counters it with a swing blade. He goes for the corner dropkick, but Roman counters it with a spear. Finn kicks out, but Finn kicks out with a low blow. Apparently, the low blow has been a story to this match. Apparently, getting hit in the balls is why Finn's a demon, which I guess is a reason to be a demon. It makes more sense than when we came out demon to fight Lashley and Leo. Also, Roman sold the ball shot awesomely, just that face that he made after getting hit in the nuts. He's got 5 kids, he could stop there. Finn's just trying to help him out with, trying to raise his family. Finn does a coup de grace, and he's about to win, but the Usos pull Finn out of 2. They double super kick Finn. Finn has no friends. All those friends that came out to celebrate with Dusty and Sammy Guevara after their title wins. Finn Balor has no friends because he is a demon who paints his face and crawls around on the floor like a weirdo, so why would you want to be friends with him? But he doesn't need friends because he is a weirdo, crawls around on the floor, paints himself like a demon. He takes out both Usos. He powerbombs Jay through the announce table, but he turns around and he takes a spear through the barricade. And then Roman's out, Finn's out, the Usos are out, everyone's down, and the lights go red. And the lights go red, and there's that little demon heartbeat that starts at the beginning of Finn's theme song. And Finn, he's on his stomach, and when the heartbeat goes off, he like flops. He flops, like his arms and legs go in the air, and then he falls back down. But then the beat goes off again, and he flops on the fucking ground again. It's like when you pull a fucking fish out of water, and they're flopping around on the floor till they die. That's what Finn looks like. Like he's having a fucking seizure. Eventually his music's going, and he gets back up, and there's fucking music playing. He's doing weapon shots. He's the fucking demon version of New Jack. He does his drive kick to slam Roman through a table. He sends him to the ring post. He beats Roman with a chair. The arena is red. The music is playing. I can't see. Finn goes to the top rope. The rope snaps, and before I go into that, I will just quote exactly what I wrote down on the paper. He drive kick Roman through a table. The arena is red. The music is playing. I can't see. The top rope snaps. What the fuck? Demon holding knee. Spear 3. What the fuck was that dog shit, bullshit, cocksucking finish? I'm glad I ain't watched SummerSlam or any of this show. I wish I didn't watch this match. This bullshit is dumb. What the fuck? Goddamn, that may be the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So the demon can survive a spear through a barricade, but not a rope breaking falling. What kind of fucking bush league? Pat McAfee, I agree. Pat McAfee said what kind of bush league after the rope broke. Okay, so to summarize, the demon was brought to life and flopped around because of his music. He beat Roman with a chair. He did his cool shotgun dropkick through a table, and he goes to the top rope, and there's smoke going in front of the top rope. I can't really see what's going on. And then all of a sudden the top rope snaps and Finn falls. And all of that demon power that he had after that beating he took from Roman, going through a barricade, he hurt his knee. And his knee hurt like he's fucking Rey Mysterio. And the demon can't help, demons are one weakness. It's holy water, it's Bibles, it's priests, and it's fucking knee injuries. Because he just takes a spear and he gets beat. That was a fucking finish to that fucking match. In a way, I'm glad I watched this match so I could have actually seen it live before my eyes and not just hear about it. But in another way, I'm fucking pissed off I watched the finish of that match because I like Finn Balor. And he just looked like the biggest fucking idiot this side of Mississippi, maybe the other side of Mississippi. I don't know how many fucking sides Mississippi has, but Finn's the biggest idiot on every side of them. Probably 4 sides, north, south, east, and west. That's all the sides that Finn's is fucking the dumbest on. This motherfucker hurt his knee because of rope break, because WWE's Bush League, like Pat McAfee said, fuck this stupid fucking finish. This was one of the dumbest things I've seen. When does Finn's contract expire? I'm not even going to say, go to AEW. I'll say go anywhere, go to Ring of Honor, go to New Japan, go to fucking Impact Wrestling. It can't get any worse than a fucking demon getting beat because he hurt his knee. I don't fucking know, man. I like Roman Reigns. I think he's the best he's ever been. I think he's really good. But Jesus fucking Christ. Man, fuck. This is all leading to Brock Lesnar. And I like Brock Lesnar too. But this is all leading to Brock Lesnar because this fucking company will never fucking learn. And instead of pushing anyone new, they pushed them off the top rope just to bring Brock Lesnar back. And I don't know who's going to beat Roman. It could be Brock. They can wait till the fucking Rock eventually shows up and Roman can be champion for the next year and a half. And the new guys could just keep getting beat. I don't even mind Roman as champion, but fuck. Somebody's got to beat him, and it's probably going to be Brock. And fuck, they just made Finn look like the biggest fucking stupid bitch. And I don't know. I don't want WWE to die. I grew up watching it, and I love it. And it is a place for a lot of people to work. But fuck, they want themselves to die at this rate, because this is some fucking bullshit. That was horrible. There was nothing on Starrcade worse than this worse than this finish. And before the finish, as I was going back to it, I found this match pretty boring watching it. I'm not going to lie. I felt like they did the bare minimum of match Extreme Rule stuff. They did a bare minimum of weapon shot. They did a bare minimum of wrestling. They just fucking did nothing until a fucking man had a seizure on the ground, and then it picked up, and then picked up a minute later with a fucking rope snapping and a man hurting his knee because it rope snapped because it picked up and fucking music played and there was smoke and the rope broke and he hurt his knee, and I don't get this fucking company. This match was boring, a stupid finish. I'm not watching them. Maybe I'll watch, what's their next big pay-per-view? The Rumble, because who gives a fuck about Survivor Series? Maybe the Rumble I'll review, but fuck, I'll just stick with Jim Crockett Promotion, and I guess ECW Hardcore TV, but I don't really know which one is worse. Fuck, this was horrible. I fucking hated it. Starrcade, you should watch it. WWE, you should never watch it. Thanks for watching me.